everyone. Welcome back to Life Through Our Eyes. I'm your host, Debbie.
Jackie.
We're so grateful that you're here with us today. On our last episode, we spoke a little bit about the outside influences on our personal, intimate relationships. This conversation kind of led us to our next episode topic, which is what role society plays in our lives and how deep it really goes. So, thinking about that, I've realized that everything that we do has some sort of outside influence. Like, we're not just born knowing what to do, right? So, our parents influence us, our schools, our friends, but just kind of thinking on what guides us on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like social media is really big, especially right now. If we want to take it a little further back, it was more so movies, magazines, music videos. TV was huge.
Oh my God.
I remember wanting to get my belly button pierced. And Britney Spears and my older sisters all had their belly buttons pierced, and I'm like 11 or 10, and I'm like, I want my belly button pierced. I was huge into celebrities, so a lot of that for sure.
Oh my
But
God,
now it's
remember all the
definitely social
posters we
media.
had
Oh my gosh,
in our rooms? Holy crap. It was crazy when we were kids.
do you remember the 5-foot cardboard cutout that my mom got from Albertsons of Enrique Iglesias? I was
That
obsessed.
hilarious.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
remember in Hallie's room that we had like her whole entire like 2 or 3 walls were like Backstreet Boys or
Yes.
NSYNC or one of the groups, and we were just like
Mm-hmm.
just in love. And
Yes.
it's weird to kind of think how we were children in love with like
Mm-hmm.
grown men,
Yes.
and there's not like a adultophilia that's out there because everyone like assumes children should like adults, but like it's wrong the other way. But we were
Yeah,
totally in love. I just remember that. I remember we were in love with everyone
Leonardo
at that
DiCaprio,
age.
we were
Oh my
obsessed.
God. We watched his movies so much. We
So
were
much.
avid watchers and
Mm.
huge fans of Leonardo
Yeah, I mean,
DiCaprio.
we
Like, holy
lost it
crap.
at Titanic. I mean, in the theater, like your mom moved
Yeah,
because we were
she
crying
hated
so
us
loud.
for how loud our cries were. We were sobbing. How can
we
you leave us?
we
It was
made a handicapped woman move her seat in the middle of a movie theater.
the
Yes,
level
we
of
did.
work she had to do to escape us and our emotions for Leonardo. Anyways, that was
Yeah,
great. That
that
was
was great.
great.
It was wonderful. So yes,
That was very
definitely.
moving, just thinking of it that way. Like, holy
Mm-hmm.
crap. Like, even as children, we were so impacted.
Yeah.
It wasn't even
Yeah.
like personal relationships. It was like a figment of someone's imagination on
Mm-hmm.
screen.
Right.
Maybe
And
part truth, maybe not. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. It's
that's
influence.
the, does art imitate life or does life imitate art?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that also brings it to show us how much that does really infiltrate our thoughts of ourselves, our thoughts of other people outside of us, because how many times do maybe we get a certain idea of how something should be or someone should be, and I
Right.
feel like inside there's an instant judgment. And I have to check myself and I'm like, whoa, wait, I don't like that first thought that came to mind. And I feel like a lot of the snap judgment, I feel like it comes from everything that is right in front of me more times
Mhm.
than not, than my own personal thoughts or my own personal feelings.
Oh my, that is so true for me because as a biracial woman who identifies as a black woman, because society I feel doesn't give me the freedom to identify as a white woman, even though
Mm,
I come from a white mother and was raised by a white mother. But I have experienced that in having situations where I feel like the way I'm behaving is not based off of my heart, but it's
mm,
based off of what I've been taught. Like, as a black woman, at times getting in an elevator with another person of color and grabbing my purse or moving it or stepping away or having a thought of harm that isn't my own thought. It is
mm,
literally from some
mm,
movie or someone else's experience because I've not had an experience where a black or brown person has harmed me in public and they don't know me. And
Right.
even people that know me, it's not happened. But my actions are speaking differently because of other people's outside influence. And
Yeah.
it's weird because it makes me be like, are you racist? But then the other part of me is like, how can I not like black? I love people of color, like the majority, not
Absolutely.
everyone, because I'm very intentional about opening my bubble up to diversity and not just having people who look like me around me. But
Absolutely.
I definitely do not hate or loathe or feel uncomfortable around people who look like me either. So just trying to
Mhm.
find like this healthy balance without feeling like I need to adhere to anyone else's expectations, if that
Absolutely.
makes sense.
100%. I've thought about that many times in our friendship. I've actually been able to remember times, even being young, like when we first met, feeling this and thinking these same thoughts that will come across my mind today. I mean, not actually today, but in this day and age, like, how much you must feel. Like a lot of times, you're like, when I'm around anybody of color, I'm not black enough. Whenever I'm with my white friends, I'm not white enough. No, I'm never feeling like you really
Enough.
fully belong
Yeah.
in a certain spot. I mean, I know I the brown baby, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things in growing up and being raised by my white side versus my Latino side not speaking Spanish. So
Yeah.
anytime I'm around anybody else that's Latino,
Or you don't feel
yeah,
brown
yeah,
enough. Because you
exactly,
are.
exactly.
You're
Right,
not
right. And that's the
Latina
thing.
because ability to speak Spanish. It's
Right,
just
right.
solely based on where you were born and what society is teaching you, which
Right.
literally goes back to what we're talking about right now, like how it influences you. The fact that you
Absolutely.
were raised in an American society as part Latina and having to have withheld part of your heritage from you makes you feel less of who you are, which is
Yeah.
unfair because who is dictating that? Again, society. Someone else is like, you're Latina enough or you're not Latina enough based on whatever they say,
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Hmm.
qualifications they give you, you know?
Right, right. And I feel like it's done in such a strange way because I don't feel like anybody's ever just come out and said you're not this or you're not enough of that. Everything almost just kind of implies it. Like in a I don't even know how to describe it. It's like those marketing techniques where they sit there and get you saying yes about this and yes about this, and then finally when they try to sell you something, you're already in this forward movement of yes, you're more inclined to say yes to the sale.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
No, I can definitely see that. That's really interesting. That was good.
I
I
appreciate
like
that.
that.
And
Yeah.
it's not something, to be honest, it's not a thing that I shouldn't have to feel. Like I need to hit a certain standard. If there are things that I want to learn more about my heritage, I should just authentically want to learn them because I want to learn them, not because I feel like that's going to make me more this or more that. I would like to feel more connected to my roots. And that's why I want to know more. I want to be able to communicate with more people and respect cultures. That's why I want to learn Spanish. So there are things I want to do with that, but it's not out of obligation by what society tells me. But I do feel
Right.
this way because of what I feel like from the outside, for sure. Definitely.
Right.
Absolutely. But it stems this internal feeling of it, right? Like it's almost, what is that? The chicken or the egg, right? Where it's like, I
Yeah.
feel this way. And so things on the outside make me feel that way.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to be like, do I focus my attention more on learning about the thing that I didn't know, or do I want to put my attention on why society would withhold that from me in the first place? Why was I not taught about this? I think about this as a person who's biracial, and I have one side of my family who is white and they know where they came from. Like
Hmm.
they know what country their ancestors came from. They're Polish American. My grandmother was a first generation, so my mom's second generation Polish American. On my black side, my African American side, I've not taken a DNA test. Nobody told me. They purposely withhold that from us, which
Mhm.
goes into what we're saying again. Like, I only know so much about my blackness based on what I was allowed to know from society, government, whomever.
Right.
And I can't look to anybody else to tell me that. That's something that I have to figure out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
You know what's crazy? It's everywhere. I don't feel like outside influence can really be escaped, except for if you go on a silent retreat somewhere
Yeah.
and you don't hear anybody speak for days, weeks, months, or whatever, and you can just sit with yourself. But if it's not on social media, it's on
Mhm.
movies. If it's on movies, it's in television. It's not television, it's at work. If it's not work, it's at your religious establishment. Even at home, if you
Around your
don't live
family
alone,
member,
yeah, if you
anybody
don't
that
live
you've been
alone,
raised.
someone around
Mhm.
you is going to say
Mhm.
something. So for you, what do you think you have been most influenced by in society? Good or bad? Just like most influenced.
Well, I think the biggest one for me is appearance. I feel
Oh,
most influenced by the outside about how I should look.
man.
And then all the things that come with it, not just in my body or my skin or my face, but it's also the maintaining of it, right? This is the fitness, makeup, hair on. It is very hard pressed to ever see me go anywhere without, if I'm not wearing eyeliner or mascara, at least. But 9 out of 10 times, I feel like I have to have full face. Even going like to the store, like I don't go to Walmart in sweats. I went to a gas station in sweats finally for the first time a couple months ago. I was like, oh my God, I actually went somewhere in sweatpants. No way. I just feel like it's just this. If I do that, that means I've given up on myself. Like that is legitimately the feeling. Like I don't take pride in myself, or I'm gonna look gross and like, hey, don't look at me.
Just
Yeah.
misrepresenting yourself. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get the pressure. I think it's interesting as a woman who does hang out with lots of men. Like, I have a good amount of guy friends. I have great girlfriends, but I also have great guy friends. And also in my profession as a massage therapist, seeing the difference between how men and women respond or communicate to me on the table throughout their
Mm-hmm.
massage. One thing I notice is women constantly apologize. They apologize
Yeah.
for if they think they smell. They apologize for if their like legs aren't shaved. They apologize for like acne or any psoriasis or anything like that. They're always apologetic. Guys will fart on a table and not apologize or say sorry or excuse me. And it's so interesting to me, even in society, how I have viewed the difference between men and women and the way
Mm-hmm.
that I feel that men are given certain freedoms to be themselves and not have to edit themselves the way women do. Women want to have longer eyelashes, and we spend up to $200, $300 a month out here to keep up lashes professionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Professionally.
Mm-hmm.
If
Right.
I would have done it myself, I can easily do it for 30 or less a month. Just the amount of effort that we, to your point, feel that we need to put in to look a certain way and wear makeup and contour our face and do all these things and wear wigs and weaves and extensions and dye our hair and do all these things
Mm-hmm.
to keep up an appearance when our counterparts, unless they're homosexual, generally don't do that. Like, the gays are fabulous and I love them. They inspire me to be beautiful and love myself and judge myself up, so to speak. But like, it's hard for me as a heterosexual woman to want to constantly care about the way that I look
Mm-hmm.
and put that extra money and time and effort into it when I ultimately am approached by potential suitors that don't even put a 18th of the effort into their own appearance. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but for me, it's kind of a turn off, and it kind of sucks that I feel like society puts a lot more pressure on a woman being visually acceptable more so than a man. And we know as women that I love a pretty man. I love a man who looks good.
You do
Like,
like pretty men. You do like pretty
I
men.
do. I don't like I don't like pretty men who like other pretty men. For myself, I like pretty men who just keep themselves up and they like me too, but like they like to look good.
Right,
And
right.
I'm
Just a guy
also
that
for
takes, pride in their appearance. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I
And
get
I'm
that and how
also
they
for
present
guys who
themselves.
want to do whatever they want to do to feel good about themselves. If that means they're balding and they want to fill in their hairline or whatever, do that.
Yep.
We do that kind of stuff all the
Right.
time. We get breast
Absolutely.
implants, Botox, lifts, tummy tucks, butt implants, injections. We do all of those things to like
Yeah.
look good. I kind of love that men are starting to step up their game to look pretty for us. Because if you think about it, in all of the animal kingdom, which we are animals,
That
90
do
plus
the
percent of them, the dudes have to attract the women.
yeah.
The guys are pretty. And then the human
The
race, here we
manna.
are working extra hard to peacock ourselves out when the pretty colored peacocks are dudes. We're the brown plain ones that are like, are you good enough? Yes, no, okay, I'll see. We'll decide, I want to decide. I'm tired of being decided upon. I want to decide if, like, you're cute enough too. So I do. I'm guilty. I do like pretty men. I do.
You do. You do.
I get my
I will say for me, I really don't do the makeup and the like make sure like my body looks this way or my hair's this way necessarily for men. I don't feel like I even want like the cashier in the store to see me like that. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It has nothing to do with I want to impress someone in a romantic way. I don't feel like myself if I'm not doing those things. And I know fitness wise, even if I get like a little bit overweight, I'm like, no, this needs to change right now. I need to fix this, which I know there's a good healthy point to that, but I feel like mine starts as in a vain way. You know what I mean? In a physical appearance, like I don't
Yeah.
want to look like this, or I don't want to feel this way in my body. Like I feel disgusting.
And you feel that way because why? Who told you? Who told
Because
you,
this is
Jackie?
because I'm getting images of what I should look like, right, on a
And
constant
you're
basis.
also getting images of what is disgusting to society as well. And so anytime we start edging towards what we think society thinks is disgusting,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
excess fat on our
Right.
bodies, right?
Right. Right.
Or, our hair not being
Mm-hmm.
kept or our face
Or acne
not being
scars or a
flawless.
pimple or
Exactly.
yeah.
The flawlessness that
Mm-hmm.
they expect us to
Yep.
have. Like, you get insecure, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So it's interesting to me because with this, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how famous, rich, beautiful, skinny, great skin, whatever you
Yeah.
are, you can
There's always
still
something.
feel
Mm-hmm.
disgusting. You
Yep.
can still feel gross because we have this disgusting addiction to comparison
Yeah.
that we have to not compare ourselves with our own self from yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
but compare
Yeah.
ourselves with someone who we will never be and never
Right.
are going to be and never were meant to be, you
Mm-mm.
know? And it's silly that we even waste our time, energy, money, thoughts,
Mm.
all of those things on comparing ourselves and trying to fix ourselves up to look or
Mm-hmm.
be or operate similarly to someone else when we are totally fine with who we are
We are
if we accept it.
amazing as who we are and who we
Yeah,
are meant to be.
everyone is.
and
Yeah.
and and we're supposed to bring that uniqueness to the
Yeah.
table, and to be honest, we're really cutting ourselves short, we're cutting
Yeah.
society short by not bringing all of ourselves and by trying to conform and look alike and do all the same things. I think that it affects, not just how we view ourselves but how we view other people. We just kind of touched on it earlier, but I think it also has a huge impact of who we end up wanting to date on race, religion, financial status, social status, like we said before, physical appearance, their
Yeah.
gender. I feel like there's just so much outside influence of all these different decisions and choices that should be our own, and
Yeah.
come organically from what we want and what we desire. But it's like, what's your truth and what's their truth? Is it the truth they're telling you? Is it your own? Yeah, I don't.
I mean, that's so true. Especially think of like the society that we're in, especially us growing up in Oklahoma, right? We grew up in Tulsa,
Right.
Oklahoma, and
Good old heartland.
good on Heartland, but it was
uh,
also like the Bible Belt,
mm-hmm.
like there was a church on every corner. I mean, it was overwhelming the Christian influence that we
Mm,
had. And being told, you're a girl, so you like boys. He's cute, right? Things like that.
mm-hmm.
Not even giving us as a child the opportunity to decide who we're attracted to because society was so set on us behaving in a tolerable way
Right.
for what they felt to be comfortable in their time. But
Mm-hmm.
in our time as a child, it was unacceptable to be gay or not Christian, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as 28, 29 years ago, like we were saying, since we've been
Right.
friends,
Mm-hmm.
that times have changed. LGBTQ communities have joined together and joined forces and have really enlighten people to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that people are people regardless what they're doing behind closed doors in their bedrooms, because the reality is I've never looked at a heterosexual person and wondered, what if they did something weird sexually to their spouse? Would I think badly of them now, or they're a
Mm-hmm.
good or bad person? Like, I don't care what they do in their bedroom. So why would I care what two men or two women do in their bedrooms? Even something like that, how religion and society made me believe something to be right or wrong from a very young age without me ever having the mental capacity or development to go, there's this person who feels
Mm-hmm.
this way and I'm okay with it, and not even get a chance to feel that way and experience it because they're already indoctrinating me from a
Right.
very, very, very young age,
Mm-hmm.
saying this is right, that is wrong. If you do this, you're going to burn forever in hell. And if you don't do this, then you
Mm-hmm.
may experience this great everlasting peace and
Mm-hmm.
love and
Mm-hmm.
acceptance. And yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me that really it's impossible for us not to be influenced again unless we like lived in some silent retreat forever, and nobody ever spoke and we just heard
Yeah.
our inside voice. But it's not
But
always
this
that
is
either though.
this is a lot more like massively affected, right? Because we have so much technology now, versus like the Middle Ages where it would take a horse and buggy ride or cart or whatever they had, like the horse and
Yeah.
the carts that they'd be in.
Yeah,
And,
that's a horse and buggy.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it would take forever to get, information from one place to another. And even
Like
half the
our
time then it
original
was,
post office,
yeah,
like
yeah,
where it
it
was on
just,
horse, it was horseback when
mm-hmm,
the USPS started. And yeah, no, I agree. Like the speed of information's different. So
yeah, yeah, for
that's
sure.
huge.
So that in itself, having it all the time, all that information out there to like everybody, that's,
So with influence, even our constitution tells you things like you have the right to a pursuit of happiness. But what does that even mean?
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm,
they're not saying you have a right to be happy. They're saying you have a right to pursue it. So,
mm-hmm.
like, for you, Jackie, like, what does that mean to you? like happiness or even the pursuit of it? Like, what does that mean?
When it really comes down to it, it's like being true to myself.
Mm,
Um, because anytime I've been unhappy, I'm doing something that was out of alignment on myself,
right.
and coming into realizing like what I really want and what I really need, not what someone else is telling me that I need in my life and what I want in my life, because I gotta experience it. I gotta know because I gotta know. That's just how
We know.
I
We
am.
know.
And so anything that anybody tells me, I might try to go it, but in the end, I stay true to myself. Like
Mhm.
it'll always come to a head, and I'll always make that decision. Because when it comes down to it, like I gotta be happy. I just refuse to live this life and not be happy, or at least not pursue my happiness. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
for you, do you feel like you're able to be your happiest self or to pursue your happiest self? And in this society, like, do you feel like it tries to tell you what it is, or do you feel like you're able to really navigate that?
Yes. As a Black woman, I feel a little restricted as far as society
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to what my happiness looks like. What makes me happy might look weird to another person. Like something small, for instance, like
Mm-hmm.
a Black woman's hairstyle in 1980s,
Mm-hmm.
1990s.
Yeah.
Any kind of cultural
Mm-hmm.
hairstyle for a Black woman was unaccepted in the workplace. So I think of all of my fellow sisters who
Mm-hmm.
had to hold back what made them happy and what made
Right.
them feel beautiful in order to keep a job to pay their bills,
Mm.
in order to satisfy society,
Yeah.
instead of just be happy with who they are. And I think of our ancestors hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago where they did not have social media and all this influence on a global scale and all these eyeballs looking at them either. Like
Mm-hmm.
our ancestors were able to just have like a tribe of a few hundred, a few thousand people, and that was like all the eyeballs maybe ever that would see them.
Right.
So the social pressure wasn't huge, but we look at people on a daily basis from
Mm.
all walks of life, from everywhere on the globe, from rich and poor and, successful and unsuccessful. And,
Yeah.
oh, it could just be overwhelming.
So, how much do you think your self identity is of your own truth and your own coming to, or how much of it is actually the identity that society tries to tell you to be or to have?
That's a great question. I think it's a combination of both. I think
Mhm.
when you're very young, you're very influential, right?
Right.
So a
Mm.
lot of it tends to be in the beginning society. And as you grow and mature, you start to
Mm.
have that internal like fight, where you're like, oh, this feels uncomfortable. I don't like this. Why are they asking me this? Or why do they expect this of me? You kind of start realizing that that's not your happiness, that's somebody else's happiness, or that's not your expectations, that's someone else's.
Mhm.
So I think for everyone it's going to be a little different. And for me, I think society has given me like a good foundation of what other people think is good or bad, but I think things like religion and my experiences with my friends and just dealing with strangers on a daily basis like all gives me, as I grow older, more input into this brain of mine so that I can really sit here and go, now I feel this way because this weird feeling's been bothering me for a long time every time someone says this or that. And now I can say confidently, I don't feel the same way. And that's
Hmm.
not my truth. That was what they tried to tell me was right or wrong. Even being like biracial growing up and hearing people be like, it's wrong to be biracial or it's not good to mix races. Like, to me, over my life, I think it's the craziest idea that someone could assume that everyone or everything looking the same is the only beautiful and good outcome. Because to me, that's like saying, I want all flowers to be roses. And if realistically
Hmm.
every flower was a rose, because they all look the same. And so anything that everything looks the same becomes boring and bland and mundane. So it's weird to me to even have racism,
It's
because, like, how can you hate diversity?
yeah.
Like, right now, we're going through a situation where they're fighting diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm just like, who's out here like, no, I only want everyone who looks like me to hang out with me and be around me, and anyone else is bad and ugly and gross and they're horrible. And I'm like, yo, that would be boring. That's like playing a game with all the characters that look the same. Like,
Well,
what?
yeah. Well, it's also not just that too. It's also everything that would ripple out an effect. If every flower was a rose, look at all the medicinal uses from flowers that are out there that we would lose.
Yes. Yes. So
I
we
mean,
would,
those
yeah.
other flowers are essential. Like the roses are great, we need them, but we need the other ones too. We need
Yeah.
them. Like
Yeah.
it all plays a role. Like we all need with flowers too. Look at the crossbreeding and the beautiful things that come from it.
That's true.
It's absolutely I
And the
agree. It's
cross
absolute
pollinating that
insanity.
bees do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of times the problem with the media and having a lot of societal thoughts and opinions, so many more times it's the negative things that are like driven and driven and driven, right? You turn on the news and you're going to see more bad things than you see good things.
Right. Right.
And a lot of that just kind of plays into, we do need to make the conscious and deliberate effort to like step away when we need to, because it does get a lot. There's a lot of pressure sometimes if we're not realizing that it's our own identity, or if it's what else someone else is trying to put on us. We need to be able to tell the difference for sure. I think we can only
Absolutely.
do that if we self-reflect. You
Right.
can't do that if you're like all in it all the time, for sure.
Right. Absolutely. I think that was good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that that was a good way to kind of bring everything back and let people know that, like, the power's really in their hands. And we're not here to tell you guys that this is the right or wrong way to live. We're here to, like, show you that we're out here experimenting and figuring it out for ourselves, and this is what works for us. So try it out for yourself. If you don't like it, it's not good for you, then it's not for you, and that's okay. And find and look for other ways and talk to professionals and people around you that can help positively influence you to make the right decisions. But for me and Jackie, this is what's kind of been going on in our lives and what we've experienced. And hopefully we've helped you all today. And thank you again for watching, and hopefully you like and subscribe. You all have a wonderful day. And if there are any other conversations that you would like for us to have, please put them in our comments and we will check them out and get back to you. Y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.